Zandile Khumalo, a state witness in the Senzo Meyiwa Murder Trial, will be back on the stand when the case resumes in the High Court in Pretoria this morning. She is the sister of Meyiwa's girlfriend, Kelly Khumalo, and she was among the people who were present when Meyiwa was shot and killed at her home in Vosloorus in the east of Johannesburg on October the 2014. 5 people are currently on trial for Meyiwa's murder. Our reporter, Chriselda Lewis, is standing by and following this trial. Chriselda, good morning, and thank you so much for making time for us. What do we expect to happen this morning?
Well, Aldrin, you are indeed correct. The expectation was that the witness, Zandile Khumalo, was expected to be on the stand this morning. However, I am hearing some word of a possible postponement in this particular matter. I'm not really sure what the circumstances are surrounding this possible postponement that I am hearing of. But of course, we'll have to wait for the court to confirm that once the proceedings get underway at 10 o'clock this morning. Indeed, the expectation was that Zandile Khumalo was expected to take the stand. You'd recall, she is the state's third witness in this matter, who was inside the house at the time that Senzo Meyiwa was killed. You recall, Tumelo Madlala, as well as Mthokozisi Twala, Senzo Meyiwa's close friends, were also amongst those who have already taken the stand, who were inside the house on that fateful day. So we were expecting cross-examination to continue this morning. You would recall that in her evidence in chief, Zandile Khumalo basically told this court that there were intruders inside the house. This is consistent with what the other two who were inside the house also told this court, basically saying that come inside the house demanding cell phones as well as money. And you will also recall that very emotionally so, Zandile Khumalo also crying inside this court at the time at which she pointed out accused number 2, who is Bongani Ntanzi. You would recall that 5 men are accused or are in court at this stage for their alleged involvement in the killing of the soccer star. So Khumalo basically pointed out to accused number 2, saying that he was one of the men who was allegedly inside the house at the time where those intruders had come inside. And she's in fact not the first witness to have pointed to accused number 2. You'd recall Tumelo Madlala was also one of those that pointed to accused number 2, saying he was one of the intruders that was inside the house on that day. He'd basically pinned Senzo Meyiwa against the wall. And the expectation, of course, as I indicated, was that we would have cross-examination begin. But we'll get a bit more clarity in the next couple of minutes, Aldrin, as I understand that the legal counsel are also due to meet some of the court officials on a way forward. We're likely to hear roundabout shortly, in the next 20 minutes or so, even at about 10 o'clock, what is expected to take place. But you'd also recall that what was expected was that, the defense would try to poke holes in the evidence in chief of Zandile Khumalo. One of the aspects you would recall in terms of the comparison of the testimonies of those that were inside the house, you'd recall that it was Mthokozisi Twala that said there was no fight or altercation that had taken place between Kelly Khumalo, who was Senzo Meyiwa's girlfriend, and Mandisa, who was the wife of Senzo Meyiwa, at the hospital. So Mthokozisi Twala said there was no such fight that had taken place, but in contradiction, Zandile Khumalo says there was a fight that had taken place when they arrived at the hospital. Mandisa and some other individuals started attacking Kelly Khumalo. That is her version of events. So we were expecting very much cross-examination to head towards that direction. But this is, I guess, Aldrin, at this particular point, speculation, but I hear it's highly probable that we would have a postponement in this matter. But we'll wait for the official word from the court at 10 o'clock. This, as I expect 2 members of the Meyiwa family to also be at court this morning. They were scheduled to attend court for the rest of this week. You would recall the dates that had been set out for this bout of testimony was from the 12th, which is today, until the 15th, which is Thursday. But at this particular point, some indications that there might be a postponement. But let's wait for the official word once court gets underway at 10 o'clock.
And Chriselda, with the Senzo Meyiwa family members expected to attend these sittings this week, is it clear why they intend being part of these proceedings or following these proceedings from the public gallery and not with the other testimonies? We've seen very sporadic times where they come and appear before the public gallery and following the case, but why specifically Zandile Khumalo's testimony?
Well, Alton, you would recall there had been in and out of Pretoria when possible. But I think in particular, you would recall during Tumelo Madlala's testimony as well, they were present during Mthokozisi Twala's testimony. I'm not sure at what point, if my memory serves me well, Aldrin, they were present inside court. But remember, this is the crux of the matter, Aldrin. This is the family that wants to know what happened inside that house on the day that Senzo Meyiwa was killed. And the only people that are going to be able to give a version of what they say is true is those that were inside the house at the time that Senzo Meyiwa was killed. So it's quite important, from what we understand from them, to be inside court, to look at these individuals who were inside court and to get a sense of whether they will get justice at the end of the day. They've been calling for that, saying that consistently those that were inside the house at the time that Senzo Meyiwa was killed should be the ones to come and tell them what happened on that day. So it's quite pivotal for them to be here. But I guess if indeed some of the speculation that I have is correct regarding the possible postponement, then they're going to be quite disappointed, because we understood they were due to attend these proceedings for the entire week. But with the possibility right now of a postponement on the cards, we'll certainly hear if this does go ahead and what are the reasons for this. They'll certainly be disappointed, as they planned to come to Pretoria to come and listen in on these proceedings.